Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here, and if that's the case, I'm super happy to have you. For those of you that are not new, this video probably feels very out of left field because I've definitely been much more focused on skincare and hair care over the past year on my channel. When I do makeup reviews, it's typically fused with skincare. Nothing like just a good old swatch and review of an eyeshadow palette, but when I saw this, let me open it. I freaked out. It's gorgeous, but more importantly, it's wearable. I feel like it's impossible to find a wearable eyeshadow palette these days, which is really weird because that used to be kind of all there was in the market. There seems to have been this switch where now everything is so brightly colored, and honestly, a lot of the launches feel so gimmicky, especially over the past year, that I'm just over it. So when I find something like this that's truly wearable through and through and doesn't have purple and green and red thrown in there, I'm excited. So I was just gonna buy it for myself and not even review it on YouTube since I haven't done something like this in so long, but one of my most viewed videos to date is an eyeshadow palette review, this Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes one, and I think it's because it's also a wearable palette. So for those of you that are still interested in wearable makeup and feel like you can't find your staple everyday items anymore, this video is for you. So we are going to talk about formulation, swatches. I will do actually 2 different looks using this palette. If you're wondering why my eyes look different, that is why. So one look is a little bit more blush toned and the other is a little bit more neutral / brown. And then of course I'll let you guys know if I think that this palette is actually worth the purchase or not. So let's jump right into that. Before we do, if you like beauty content, especially skincare and hair care, maybe a little bit of makeup sprinkled in there, or you just like hanging out with me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up because that really helps to support my channel and make sure that my videos are actually recommended to others. And definitely go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I have my username right here for you. Okay, I know I had a lot of disclaimers in there, but I feel a little bit nervous, like people are not gonna be into the eyeshadow review, so hopefully you guys will like it, and let's jump right into it. Okay, let's start off with just some of the details about this palette. So this, oh my gosh, has 20 different shades in it. Again, it's called the Tartelette Juicy Palette, and it retails for $45, which is actually more affordable than some of their other Tartelette palettes. So like their Tartelette in Bloom, which I used to have, I think that's actually in my old freelance kit. That retails for $39 and has 12 shades. So per shade, let's divide this out. These shadows are actually $1 less. So the Tartelette and Bloom shadows are $3.25 a piece, and these are $2.25 a piece, but it still has great packaging. I mean, this is so cute, by the way, this pale pink chrome. I'm obsessed. And has an amazing mirror. I don't want to blind you guys. So here is the mirror. Actually really good sized mirror, amazing for a type of palette to travel with. I love everything about the packaging and of course this color story as well. So I'll give you guys a close up of that. So again, there's 20 shades here and they're all a combination of rosy, pinky, mauve shades and some neutral browns. I will say that I was slightly let down. This is just me being extra picky. I'm so picky about eyeshadow now because I will not buy a palette if it has a bunch of colorful shades. These are a little bit more colorful than they appeared in the images online in my opinion, but everything else I feel is still very wearable, and these are still super pretty shades. They're not too crazy and too out there. So for those of you that wanted a couple shades thrown in that are a little bit more colorful, you have that right here, but with everything else that is so wearable and everyday. Oh my gosh. So let's do some swatches. Out of these 20 shades, 11 of them are matte and 9 are shimmery, which I feel like is the perfect combination. The first shade is called Water Lily. Beautiful beige metallic. Next is another metallic that has more of a pink sheen to it called Paradise. Next we have the one matte in this row, which is called Rose. Really pretty pink. Then we have Orchid, which is one of those brighter colors that I was not super stoked on, but still, it's not too much. And then the last shade is Dream Chaser. Okay, first shade in row number 2 is called Wishful. It is a pale, kind of bone-colored shade. Next is Blossom, which is a peachy light pink. Then we have only one metallic in this row called Wildflower, which is more of a coppery, silvery, it's like a coppery grayish. Then we have Petal and Luscious, which is a chocolatey brown. For row number 3, the first shade is called Inspiring, and it is more of a peachy brown. Shade number 2 is a metallic called Shine, really coppery gold. Shade number 3 is called Fresh Start. This is kind of a yellow-based brown. Shade number 4 is a metallic called Dawn. It's kind of like an antique copper. Sorry, that was a bad swatch. And then the last shade in this row is called Charmed, and it is a mid-toned matte brown. I'm sorry, the direction of these swatches. Okay, last row, the first shade is called Reflect, and this is slightly deeper than that very first shade, but really, really similar. Super pretty, kind of champagne beige. Next is Happiness, which actually is a little bit more of a cool toned brown. Next is Dusk, which is a warm toned, deeper brown with a little bit of red in there. Second to last is Grounded. Wow, sorry, these are getting iffy. We'll do this one up here. This is a mid-tone chocolatey brown. And then the last shade is called Euphoric, is the deepest brown in the palette. I guess that's more of a true chocolatey brown. So, oh my gosh, so many gorgeous shades here. I honestly don't really have any major complaints when it comes to the color story because, of course, I have to keep in mind this was not curated for me. So even if there are a few shades that I wouldn't really wear, for example, like this, that's a great shade for someone with a deeper skin tone. The only shades that are not completely wearable aside from these, I mean, I actually feel like it's only this, the coppery gold, but I also love shades like that. So for the most part, almost entirely wearable, everyday, more natural neutral, with some little mauve shades in there. So gorgeous. And quickly for the formulation of these shadows, they're actually the same as Tarte's other Tartelette palettes. So if you've ever used those before, same exact thing going on here. For the matte shades, I would say they're not dry, they're not too buttery creamy. They're kind of right in between, which I think makes them really easy to work with. They have a nice amount of pigment to where it's not like you're putting nothing on the lid, but you also are able to build them up, which is my favorite way to use a matte. If something is too intensely pigmented at first, I just find it a little bit more difficult to work with. I feel like then they get stuck on your eyeshadow primer. You can't blend them out very well, so these are very, very blendable, have really, really pretty buildable pigment. For the shimmery metallic shades, it's not my favorite formulation for a metallic. Using them on a brush with Fix Plus brings them to life. It really allows them to pop. When you use a finger, or if you were to use a brush without Fix Plus, which honestly I wouldn't recommend, I would say use your finger instead, you get a much more subtle, kind of subdued look, which I also think a lot of people really like. So when we do the tutorial, I'll show you guys both application with a finger and on a brush with Fix Plus. You can get a feel for both. Some of them are a little bit kind of flaky, but it's nothing that's too bad. So while it's not the most intense one swipe shimmer of all time, for just your everyday wearable makeup kind of girl or guy, I think that it's a really nice formula for that. So those are all of my initial thoughts. Let's jump into the tutorial portion of the video and I will let you know my final thoughts at the end. Okay, so I feel like there's kind of two different directions that I can go here. I mean, there are several looks that you could create with this palette, but I want to do one that is definitely more blush toned, pinky mauve, and then the other look we will kind of keep it a little bit more neutral and brown. And I feel like we have plenty of shades to do both of those looks with this. So let's start off with the pinkier look first. Okay, so I'm gonna use my large fluffy crease brush and pick up this shade right here. It's such a beautiful light pink, really great for the transition area. It's called Blossom. I will link all of the brushes that I use in this video in the description box below, so we don't have to talk about each one. And I'll also link the makeup that I have on my face, the eyeshadow primer that I have on, which is just my MAC paint pot. Okay, next I'm gonna pick up this shade right here, which is called Inspiring. It's like a peachy pink, and I'm actually going to mix that with this, which is called Petal. I feel like the two together will be just what I'm looking for. So this one is definitely more of kind of a purpley pink. And then I want to deepen up the outer V just a little bit. I don't want either look to be too dark because we are going for wearable. So I'm going to pick up this shade called Luscious. It's just a nice matte neutral brown, and I am just going to pack a little bit of that in to my outer corner. Okay, I'm gonna clean up under the brow bone area with a little bit of this shade right here, which is called Wishful. It's such a nice brow bone shade because it's not a bright, stark white. Something like that is super harsh, much more subdued. Okay, for the lid, I kind of want a gradient between slightly darker and a little bit lighter, so we'll start off with the darker shade first, which is this one right here called Wildflower. Such a gorgeous beige with a little hint of pink. And I'm actually just gonna pick this up on my fingers so that it's a little bit more toned down and subtle than it would be if I used Fix Plus. Okay, and then for the other shade, we have to use this pink right here. It is called Paradise, and it's a gorgeous pale pink with a slightly warm tint to it. Oh my gosh, I love this. So I'll give you guys a close-up when both eyes are done before I put on eyeliner, and then another one once I have on eyeliner and mascara. But let's jump into the other eye. Also, I just realized how insane my brows look, so please excuse that if you can. I've been trying to grow them out my entire life. I don't really know what to do anymore, so that's why they look like little bush babies on my face. Okay, so the other eye, again, I want to be a little bit more neutral / brown, so I'm going to use this gorgeous shade right here for the crease area. This is such a perfect crease transitional color. Oh my gosh, I love it. So this is called Fresh Start. Now I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this brown / gray right here. It's kind of like a grayish, called Happiness. And then for my outer V corner color, we are going to use this shade right here called Charmed. Okay, we'll just use this one again for the brow bone area. There isn't anything else that I could use for that, but this one's perfect, so that's fine. Okay, so I don't want to go full on kind of coppery gold, even though that is a beautiful shade. I love shades like that in the summer. Ooh, so nice. Oh, got my lipstick on here. So what I'm thinking is I'll do this shade first on the outer half of the lid, and then this one towards the inner corner of the lid. So this shade right here is called Reflect. And then this lighter, frostier shade is called Water Lily. Okay, let's do a little close-up before I apply my liner. I love both looks. I think they're so pretty. It's just up to personal preference, whatever you're kind of in the mood for, but you could intensify the shimmers if you wanted to. So if you wanted them to just pop even more, you can just apply some Fix Plus on a brush and use the shadow like that. Should I show that for the sake of the video? I feel like I should. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take a little bit of the lighter shade from each lid and pop that kind of on the inner half of the lid with a brush and some Fix Plus, because I do want you guys to see how these perform in that way. All right, one last close-up. I love both. I think it's so pretty. So let's talk about final thoughts and we'll wrap up this review. Okay, final thoughts on the Tartelette Juicy palette. I would absolutely recommend it, and I would almost go as far as to say this is a must-have if you're someone that's looking for, again, an everyday wearable palette all in one spot. If you don't want to buy multiple palettes to try to kind of put together a look using different shades across all of them, and you just want them all in one spot, this is gonna be the palette for you. So many gorgeous shades, so many different looks that you can create, but all subtle and pretty and feminine and flirty without being too bold and over the top. So that's my 2 cents. While they don't necessarily have maybe the most perfect formulation, I think what you lack in formulation, you gain in color selection, and it's not like they have a bad formula. I think the formula is really good, but if I'm trying to be nitpicky on something, it would be that. But other than that, I really don't have any complaints, and I think that this thing is gorgeous. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. If this is a palette that you are going to purchase, of course it will be listed in my description box below if you want to get your hands on it. Or are you gonna skip it? Are you totally over eyeshadow altogether? That's fair if that's the case, I get that too, but let's all chat in the comments below. And if you have any other palettes that you feel like are truly wearable, let me know, but I've been searching high and low for probably 2 years and I can't find anything. I can't. It's devastating. So that's it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, again, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and send my channel to a friend. All of those things are so helpful to me, so thank you for your support. And if there's anything else you would like to see from me next, leave that request in the comments as well. Otherwise, my next video will be up in a few days. It will not be makeup, I promise. So stay tuned for that. But until then, I hope you have a great few days.